Good evening, sir.
All right, good evening.
Yes, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing good. And you?
Happy Sunday, sir.
Happy Sunday to you.
It's so nice to have you on the show. So let me introduce myself. My name is Dorcas Aomoyi. I'm the operations manager of TechFront Solutions Limited. So Mr. Femi is here with us this evening. He's going to enlighten us on web development and all it entails. So Mr. Femi, kindly introduce yourself to us.
All right, my name is Femi SOYINKA. I'm a web developer of over 10 years. I joined the tech world in around 2011 when we floated a software development company. We developed a software we called Church Plus, a church management system that help pastors to manage their churches. It's a big product now. It's there online. The name is Church Plus. So I entered the tech world through that. Then I was the business development management manager for the company. So from there, I left. When I left the company, I started my own company, and since then, I've been involved in so many web projects and applications too, mobile applications and all that. Currently, I am the chief operating officer for a company we call Wanzamin Entertainment Limited, where we developed a Netflix-like streaming platform with a rent a movie, business model. That's where we are today. I still work as a web developer, of course, as a senior web developer. That's that. Any other thing you want to know?
For now, just I know you have a lot to share with us, so we'll just take it one at a time. Thank you
Okay,
so much, Mr. Femi.
thank you.
So guys, just be rest assured you have a lot to learn today. Section so we can access it and then get back to you on that. Okay. So Mr. Femi, let's go on. I have some questions here I would like you to enlighten us on. Okay, so I've been
Okay.
hearing web development, I've been hearing front end, back end. And as a layman, I'm trying to come into the tech space. So I'm trying to understand what's the difference between front end and back end web stuff. Can you just walk us around it?
All right. So front end, back end. Let me start by saying when you enter a particular website, right? The first thing you see colors, you see buttons, you see link, you see images, sometimes you see videos. Those things you see are called front end, right? So what the user come across when they enter a particular website, what they see first, what they see is called front end. So those who build what users see are called front end developers. I don't know how deep you want me to go currently. Maybe I know you will ask follow-up questions, but those are what we call front end developers. But the back end, now when what you see uh, on the web, there are some things that control what you see. For instance, let me give you a practical example. You go to Facebook, you make a request, right? Maybe you want to add friend to yourself. Or maybe let me use this better example. You go to a particular e-commerce website, for instance, Jumia, you want to buy something. When you click the button that you want to buy, it brings up the product, the picture of the product. If they have the video, it show you the video of the product, right? Now, those things that are happening as you are interacting with that web page, they are coming from the back end. You are not seeing what is going on at the back end. You understand? So at the back end, we have the database. We have different language that is managing the back end. You get? We have APIs and all that. So that is what we call back end. Back end is much more complex than the front end. But then let me stick to the question. So front end, people who develop what users see is how user interact, with the web page. They are called front end developer. While people who handle the back end or the database where we store information, information of the web page, they are called the back end developer.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that because I was a bit confused. I was like, front end, back end, and I'm sure some persons on the call might also have that challenge. But thank you now for giving clarity to our confusion. Okay, now that you mentioned, so you, according to what you said we have some developers that work just basically with front end, then there are others that work with the more complex part, which is the back end. So that means we have two career paths there. We have the front end developers and the back end. Okay, beautiful. All right, so what career benefits are unique to specializing in front end versus specializing in back end?
Okay, so let me quickly say this, that sometimes these career paths overlaps, right? I know we'll get there. We have what we call full stack. But let me stick to the question you just asked. Wonderful question. You see, front end, what is unique to front end developer is that they get to develop interfaces that users can interact with. They have the career in UI, user interface, career in UX, user experience. Are you following me? So we
Yeah.
have this opportunity to develop beautiful interactions, beautiful interfaces. We get to think about, okay, when users come to this particular website, what do we want them to see? How do we want them to interact with the web page? Those are the decisions that front end developers will be making. All right. Okay. What color should this button be? Where should we put the image? How should we, what should be the font that we are going to use for this particular project? These are decisions that will be made by any front end developer. Now, as per back end, so back end developer will now begin to think about, okay, what API do we need, to give the user the experience we want them to have. For instance, let me give you a very practical example. You want to build e-commerce, for instance. All right. You want to build e-commerce. Now, you want people to be able to pay online, right? Now, of course, you just need an e-commerce website where people can come and buy your product. However, you cannot handle the payment aspect. So you will need a third party. I hope I'm not complicating this. You need a third party platform where that will handle the payment, the payment process. For instance, when you go to Jumia and you purchase a product, you put your card and all that. Now those are API. Those things, for most e-commerce site, they don't happen on your website. Okay, so the backend will now integrate the API from the payment system or the payment gateway. For instance, in Nigeria, we have Paystack, we have Flutterwave, we have InterSwitch. These are people, the third party financial system that have API that developer will go to. Say, look, I want to build e-commerce. Give me your API. We will integrate the API to the web page. Now, this is the work of a backend developer. All right. So they integrate the API. So API simply means application program interface. So which means you want to consume other applications. You want your user to be able to, have access to other what's it called? Other benefits, for instance, payment benefits and all that. Another example, you build a website, you have your YouTube channel. You want to integrate your YouTube channel into your website. So you are going to be using YouTube API. So the API will now be calling the video from YouTube to your website. This is still the work of backend. Like I said, sometimes this thing overlap. Some front end will get there. Some front end developers also, they understand how to work with APIs and how to integrate all these things. So as per career path, generally, backend developer earn more, much more than front end. That's number one. Number two, their career path once you enter backend it tends to be very stable, not like front end. And I'm going to give you the reason why. Backend tends to be very, very stable. They earn more. Their career tends to be very stable, more than front end. Now, why? Front end developer, because of design change, if you for those of us who joined tech in the 2011, as at that time, we are not even talking much about responsiveness. We are not talking about small screen like phone and all that. Once, if you want to develop, all we develop for is the computer. We develop for large screen. All we need to do is slam HTML table, write our CSS, and we are good to go. So, but as time goes on, design are changing. So their career path tends to be very, very volatile because design are changing. You understand? So, but it is easier to enter front end than back end. That's another advantage for front end development. So you can do, if you are very serious, you can do a 6 month course, and believe me, you have entered the front end and you get a job as a junior developer. You understand? So those are the nitty gritty of their career, career path.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you, sir. All right, sir. So now I want us to look at the skills that boost employability. So
Hmm.
I'll be going to for the front end and back end skills. Okay. Okay, so which front end and back end skills most increase a junior developer's employability and starting salary? So which of the skills for both back end and the front end, which of those skills are needed to increase employability and starting salary?
Hmm.
So what's like the edge as a front end developer? What are the things I need to know for me to be employable for a back as a back end web developer? What are the things? What are the skills I need to have to make me a good candidate
And
for employment?
very important. So I'm going to start from the front end. For a front end developer, you have to, number one, you must have very strong HTML and CSS background. As in, you must know your HTML and CSS very well. You must be a guru in HTML and CSS. Then you must understand JavaScript very well. Let me break it down. HTML is used for the structure of the web page. CSS is used for the design of the web page, and JavaScript is used for interactions. Let me give a very solid example. I believe most of us will have seen a house, uncompleted building. Now, when we want to build a house, right, we will have bricklayers come, of course, after the architect have drawn the building. When they want to start the project, they dig the foundation, then we get blocks. I know you have seen the uncompleted building. If you see an uncompleted building with blocks and all that, you will notice that it's very, very ugly, right? It's very ugly. But as time goes on, they begin to design it right. They have they make they put cement and all that. They do screeding, then they paint, and it becomes beautiful, right? Then nowadays we have what we call smart houses. You push a button, your gate opens and all that. So let me bring it into web development. The block you mold is your HTML. It gives the house, the building, a structure, right? Now, when you begin to plaster and begin to paint, and decorate the house, that's your CSS. Okay, but when you begin to add smart houses, smart gate, you click what's it called? You take a remote and you open your TV and all that. That's your JavaScript. Okay, that's your JavaScript. So now, as a front-end developer, you must have very strong skill in HTML and in CSS and in JavaScript. Not only that, you must also have very strong skill. I know that this is it's not is I mean, you can, if you are very smart, you can learn HTML in 3 weeks. You can be good, at least to an extent. And I'm going to tell us some things as we go on. You can be very good in HTML. CSS can take you 1 month. You can learn that. Now, JavaScript, that's, it's a programming language that can take you, some months. Now, after you have learned your JavaScript and you are very strong on that, you need to move to frameworks, JavaScript frameworks. Now, remember the historical thing I brought in that as at 2011, well, we don't talk too much or so much about frameworks, especially for front end. But Facebook came up with a particular framework they call React, and it has become a de facto framework now for front end in the web development industry. So you must be very good with either React or Vue.js. Before, Google was dragging the front end market with Meta or Facebook. They introduced Angular, but Angular is not really it doesn't really fly much. People are still using it as a legacy language, but or legacy framework or library, but it's not really as it's not as popular as React. So to enter into the labor market as a front end developer, in summary, you have to have a very strong background in HTML, very strong background in CSS, very strong background in JavaScript, and add a framework, either React or Vue.js, which are the two most popular one now. Now, for backend, it becomes very a bit complicated. For backend, before you can enter a career as a backend, you must be very good, number one, with a backend or server side language. We have several of them. We have Python, we have C sharp, we have Ruby, we have PHP, we have Django is library for Python. We have PHP and all that. But you must be good at one of these languages. Okay, we have Java also. Now, let me quickly clarify something. Java is not related to JavaScript. They are not related at all. So I need to quickly, make that clear. Now, you are either, if you want to be a backend person, you are either good with Java, Python, or Ruby on Rail, or Java for enterprise applications, or what's it called now, PHP. Currently, I would advise you go with Python. It's now the ruling, especially with the AI coming in. So, Python. You must be very good with one of these languages in summary, and preferably, like I said, Python. Okay. Then you must be very good with databases. We have SQL, NoSQL. You must be very good with databases languages, queries. You must be very good. You must be a very good person with databases. Then you must be good with what we call GraphQL. GraphQL, you must be good with that. Then you must be good with APIs. You must be able to develop APIs. You must be able to consume APIs. You must understand APIs because you are going to be using so many APIs from different platforms. For instance, let me give you a very practical example. Remember when I was introducing myself, I said that we built a Netflix-like platform. When
Yeah.
we finish building this Netflix like platform, it's online now, wanzami.tv. You can check it out, wanzami.tv. You can go there. Sorry, am I advertising? Anyways, so when we finish building this, we notice that the sign up is not like what we want. So what do we need to do? We need to integrate social login. I don't know. You must have seen it before, where you want to log into a particular website or application, and they're saying use your Google. Have you seen it before? Use your Google account.
Can you take that again?
Okay, have you seen it before? Maybe let's say you want to log in to even to LinkedIn, for instance, LinkedIn, and they said,
Okay.
"Do you want to use your Google account?" Like with a click of a button
Yes, yes,
and register, right?
yes,
You have seen it before.
yes,
Yeah, and also Facebook. You can use your Facebook also. Do you know? Right?
yes.
Yeah. So those are called social login. Now these are APIs. So Google is exposing i- its API to a developer that, okay, use my API, integrate it into your app, and your clients, your customers can log in using their already existing account with me. That is account with Google. So you can. That's API. Now, for a backend developer, when we were doing this, we noticed that we had issue. We begin to have issue, even with the whole application. So we have to redesign and recode the application. Do you understand? So as a backend person, you must be very good at consuming APIs. That's where I'm going. You are going to be using APIs a lot, especially in the emerging world. You are not going to be writing the code from the scratch. Most of the code you are going to be using is just API, payment API, login APIs,
Okay.
so many APIs that you're going to be using, depending on the project you are handling. So as a backend developer, you must be good with a server-side language. You must be good with consuming APIs and building APIs. You must be good with database languages, SQL, NoSQL. You must be good with GraphQL. You must be good with cloud, either AWS or Google Cloud or Digital Ocean. You must be good because that's where you're going to be deploying, and your applications. So you must be good with these things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for walking us through that. It's really informative, I can see. Guys, I hope you are taking notes and you are dropping your questions. Very important. Okay. Sir, I know you've mentioned a lot, you've said a lot of things, but I just want you to point out something. Okay, so which single skill will give the biggest hiring advantage for a junior developer? I know you mentioned a number of them. For front end, you said JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and the likes. Yeah, but which one will give the biggest hiring advantage?
Okay, so quickly, let me quickly say this. Knowing languages is not even how to get employed. Right? The best way to get employed. Oh, I forgot to mention. You have to also be good with version control. What we call version control, GitHub. So the way to get employed or to be employable is to build projects. Simple. Are you following me now? The only way to get employed or to be employable is to build projects. So if you say you are a front-end developer, you need to sit down and build projects and push them to GitHub. Build interfaces and and push them to GitHub. Employer nowadays, they don't care about how many language you know. What they want to know is, can you do it? Have you done it before? Can we see your portfolio? So to get employed in 6 months, and for people who want to learn, let me quickly say this. For those people who really want to learn this skill, first thing, this is the best field you can be. This is the best career you can be. Web development is one of the best career ever you can enter into, and I can tell you, from my past,
Well
this
said.
is where, you can sit down in your house and you are making money. You can call the bluff of anybody. You understand? It's a big this thing, but you are talking about employability. Like I said, employers are not looking at, oh, you add into your CV, I know HTML, I know CSS, I know JavaScript, I know React, I know Vue, I know PHP, I know Python. That's not what they are concerned about. What they are concerned about, what have you built with all this knowledge? Can we see it? So the biggest factor for employability is your portfolio, what you have built, and what you can show an employer that you have done in the past. Do you get? So if you want to be employable in the next 6 months, as you are learning, you are building. As you are learning, you are building, and you are pushing it to GitHub. So it's very, very important. Let me quickly say that. Whether back end or front end, you have to be to get your hand dirty and build projects.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that. So as we are learning, we are building on the side just to build our
Yes.
capacity. Depending on, yes, when we start the job. Okay. Thank you for that, sir. Please, guys, I hope you are taking notes. Please, as you are learning, ensure you are building because that will add to your portfolio. Okay, sir. So we want to talk about the work arrangement. So how does choosing front end or back end affect opportunities for remote work, freelancing, or launching your own products?
Mm. Very good question. Very, very good question. You see, for front end, the entry barrier is very low compared to back end. So if you want to have to be a freelancer, the easiest way to enter is front end. You get, though it's not stable, like I said, front end, this thing is not stable, but it is the easiest one to enter into, and it is the easiest one to be a freelance or a freelancer. And so, if you really want to quickly enter into tech, go for front end. One, the opportunity for remote is much more, with the front end. I'm coming on. The opportunity for remote is much more, for the front end. The opportunity, the field, the career field is also large. For instance, like I said, you can work as a UI, user interface expert. You can work as a UX, user experience, developer. You can work as what else can you work as? You can work as building interactive interfaces. You understand? So it is easier for you to get a remote job as a front end developer. However, because it's the law of demand and supply, because it's easier to enter into. It's a field that is easier to enter into as a junior developer. We have so many crowds there, so it can also affect. It's very competitive. In summary, it's very competitive. Now, going back to the back end jobs are not as much or as large as front end. But once you enter back end, you are, number one, you command higher salary. Number two, be assured you are secured. Your job security, at least compared to front end, you are secured. And also, let's look at their part. Generally, front end, yeah, you grow in front end. You can be, a senior front end developer, a senior front end engineer. But when you go for back end, you tend to enter into senior management level. You become the DevOps of this world, senior architecture engineer, you understand, and database administrator. These are the roles for backend. These are the roles for backend, and believe me, these ones command higher salary. And of course, you can get a remote. And like I said, if you get a remote job as a backend, especially if you're in the third world like Nigeria, if you get a remote job as a backend, the kind of salary you will be commanding is very high. Is very high because it's a very complex field, and it takes years of programming and studying and projects to get into this kind of role. Like I said, you have to be able to know how to work with cloud, AWS, DigitalOcean, Amazon. Like Amazon is AWS, Google, Microsoft has their own, and all that. You understand? So this is in summary, so that I will not confuse us. In summary, it is easier to get a remote job as a front end developer, and it is also easier to enter into that role, within 6 months. If you are very serious, you are coding, you are building projects within 6 months. Possibly you update, your profile on LinkedIn and all that, you can get a job quickly, though the money will not be as much. It is a little bit, you know not difficult, a little bit, how do I put it now? Because the job there, like I said, they are stable. So the back end, it may take you more time. But once you enter into that back end role, believe me, sky is not even the limit. You just continue to grow, and they really let go of back end engineer. They really let, because they are not much. It's a very complex career. So the path is unlimited. I mean, you become the senior DevOps, you become the architect engineer, you become the database administrator of this world. You are embedded in the management level and of any company like that. You are like the backbone of that company, especially if that company is an IT company. Am I able to answer your question? Do you want to ask a follow up?
Mm.
Are you there?
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, sir.
All right.
So I know you mentioned earlier that backend developers, make more money than front-end developers. So
Mm,
I just want to find
mhm,
out, I just want to ask this particular question. So if my goal, for example, is to raise my income by 30% within a year,
mhm.
which part is more realistic? Because now you said front-end jobs are easier to get, are quicker to get.
Yeah.
Yes. So if I'm planning to increase my income by 30% within a year, which part is more realistic? Will it be front end, back end, or full stack? And explain why.
Okay. Uh, that's a very nice question. Okay. You can raise, for instance, we have to ask ourselves this question. If you are raising your income by 30%, that means you have a base already. For instance, maybe you are earning 1,000 naira per month. So 30%, if you want to raise it by 30%, that's how much? That's is it 300 naira? So you want to raise your income by 300 naira. You understand? You already have a base. So no matter the career you choose, you can raise you can raise your income by 30% by getting better at what you do, by building more portfolio, like I said, having more in-depth knowledge of whichever field you choose, either back end or front end. Are you with me? So if you get in depth, you will command higher salary. I mean, you get new jobs and you move on. You get my point. But you must have very in depth knowledge of whichever one you choose. However, on a scale, if you put the two of them on a scale, believe me, if you develop your expertise in backend, you will command higher salary. There's no way. In fact, you can double your salary, not just 30%. You can double your salary within 6 months for backend. Now, full stack. Yeah, full stack is good. I mean, that's where most of us. That's we are going to still talk about it. I don't know if we still have enough time. Full stack, of course, simply means you can do backend, you can do front end, right? You know how to work with in both field. You are a generalist. However, full stack will definitely command more salary than just knowing backend or just knowing front end, right? However, if the companies nowadays they are favoring what I call T-shaped career path. T-shaped career path. How do I mean? You know backend, you know front end, right? You now specialize in a particular one. For instance, you know front end, you know back end. You are now specializing in API, for instance, API development, and you become very good at API development. Or you are now specializing in Python. You are very good, web scraping and all that. You are very good. So of course you know front end, you know back end, but you want to specialize in a particular one. That's T-shape, T-shape career path. Or even if you are in front end, back end, you say, okay, in front end, I want to specialize in React. I want to be so good with React that I can build, killer interfaces like Facebook and all that. So you are a generalist, but you have a special niche that you focus on. That's very good. Also, you can say, okay, yes, I'm a specialist, but I want to focus on e-commerce. E-commerce. If you focus on being a very good e-commerce developer, even though you are front end, back end, you will command higher salary. As time goes on, you will command higher salary. I know that. I know that. So that's that.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we have a question from the comment. Someone
Okay.
wants to know what you can tell us about machine learning. Someone
Mm.
is interested in understanding machine learning. So please, can you just
Machine
walk us
learning.
through
Okay,
machine learning?
okay.
Yes,
All
please.
right. So now when we are talking about machine learning, we are moving on to AI. All right. We are moving on to AI, and we will begin to talk about large language model (LLM), large language model like that's what chat gpt is using. We have perplexity, we have what's it called now, we have claude ai, we have all the now machine learning is another field entirely. It's not web development, right? machine learning is not web development. But if you want to learn machine learning, you have to be good with Python. You have to be good with mathematics. They do a lot of what do we call it now? They do a lot of there's this aspect of mathematics I just forgot now. Algorithm. Thank you. You have to be good with algorithm. You understand? But it's a different field entirely. It's not web development. But if you have knowledge of web development, it will also help you to have proper understanding of machine learning. But it's a very it's a totally different field. But it's now, if I may say, if you are interested in doing this, it's a big field though. Believe me, in the next 5 years, AI is taking over. AI is writing code. In fact, I'm building an application and I'm working with Claude AI, to build the application. It's just that if you don't know web development and application development, all this language we've been talking about, even if AI write the code, how do you want to use the code? You won't even know what you are doing. For instance, I know we are still going to get to that question. You have to prepare the environment. You have to know all this, you know. But machine learning, staying on machine learning is a totally different field. It has to do with large language model, algorithm, mathematics, Python. So if you want to learn it, it's a very good, it's a big opportunity.
Thank you for that, sir.
All right.
Okay. Yes, I know you tried to answer this question earlier, but I just want, because some persons might want clarity, like they will want to really know. So I want us to just touch this part. And thank you for pointing out the explanation on machine learning. I'm sure you have a lot of experience in this field.
Are you there? Oh, that's network. Hmm. Are you there? Let me see whether it's from me. Oh, it's from them. Can anybody hear me?
Mr. Fem, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, so sorry about that. The phone just went off without any reason. Crown, so I had to get another gadget to you. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Guys,
it's
I'm so
okay.
sorry for keeping you waiting. So we'll just run through what we have left. Sorry about that, sir.
It's all right. It's fine. It's
All right,
fine.
sir. Okay, sir, which niche areas in front end and back end deliver the largest career returns? I know it's similar to what I've asked previously, but I just want you to touch more on that, please.
Okay, so I need you to clarify the question. Are you talking about comparing the back end with front end, or you are talking about each of the
Yes, in
career
each
path?
one. Yes,
Each
in
one.
each career path.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
In
please.
front end, well, which niche can I talk about? Front end, because front end is actually, it's more like general for web development. And so if you really want to make a career path in front end, niche does not really come in like that. You have to know it. That's just it. Because every industry, for instance, you want to build application for e-commerce, you do front end, you do UI, you do UX. All right. You want to build application for streaming platform like Netflix, you will do front end. I mean, you will do UI, you will do UX. So the best thing is just make sure you understand the basics, the fundamentals, like which I've talked about, especially the frameworks. You get the React or Vue.js. Just understand it. Then also make sure you understand how to integrate APIs, whether you are doing front end or you are doing back end. Just understand the integration of APIs. As for the back end, well, they have a lot of career paths. For instance, you can specialize as a database administrator, which is very good. You can also specialize as a cloud engineer. When we finish building the application I was talking about, we were actually looking for cloud engineer, you know, to help us. So as a backend person, you can also specialize as as a cloud engineer. You know, those are the parts.
Mm. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, so I want to go to the languages now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So which language or
Yeah.
languages and ecosystem should developers prioritize learning for front end and back end roles? So what are
Hmm.
the languages that they should prioritize when learning either the front end or the back end roles.
Okay. Can you can, am I still visible? Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay. Okay. Now for front end, briefly for front end, you have to specialize in core languages which I've mentioned before, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Those are the foundation, right? Those are the foundation. Then you need to move on to frameworks and libraries. And I've mentioned React. React leads the ecosystem for building interactive UIs. Then followed by others like Vue.js. Vue.js is really coming up. Then Angular. Angular, well, but just specialize in frameworks like either React or Vue.js, right? After you have left the foundation, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then you need to look at trending ecosystem like TypeScript for added static typing. I don't know if I'm talking to core programmer, then I can go technical. But I don't know if we are talking to core programmer. TypeScript, you have to understand TypeScript for added static typing, improving code quality and maintainability. Then additional helpful tools. We are still talking about front end. Includes CSS preprocessors like SASS or less. Then build tools like Webpack, Vite, and modern state management libraries. Now, let me talk about CSS. Um, I don't know if we are still going to get to it, but we need to also talk about responsive web design. So when we are talking about responsive web design, okay, simply put, responsive web design means you are developing for both mobile and you are developing for light screen, TV, laptop, desktop, you know. So you have to understand this, very important. But we also have a framework for this. We have Bootstrap, we have Tailwind, we have what other things do we have? We have Foundation. These are CSS frameworks to help us develop responsive website. Now, let me move on to backend. For the backend, you need to understand leading languages. Python. Python is dominant now. When you know Python, also you have to understand the Python framework. We have Django, we have Flask. And Django is trending now. You have to understand it very well. For JavaScript, uh, for I don't know if we still have time. Let me quickly talk about this. There's this trend that is going on now that you can build both the front end and the back end using JavaScript. Okay. So if you are good at JavaScript, you can actually do backend using what we call Node.js for your backend. You understand? Instead of Python or Java or PHP, you can actually use Node.js for your backend if you know JavaScript very well. So it's becoming very popular now, due to developer efficiency across front and backend with the same language. So it's becoming very, very popular now. Now, we are still talking about backend. Other important languages include Java. I've mentioned it for enterprise apps. We have Go. Go is owned by Google for performance. We have Ruby on Rails. We have PHP. PHP is legacy system. For those of us who are familiar with web, if you have worked with WordPress before, WordPress is built with PHP. If you are work with Shopify, Shopify is also built with PHP. So if you're a backend developer and you understand Python, you understand PHP, you can go in and begin to work as an e-commerce expert, helping people on building e-commerces on Shopify, customized e-commerces on Shopify is built with PHP. These are legacy systems. They are not going anywhere. PHP is not going anywhere. Though PHP developer does not command that higher salary, but they are not going anywhere because the web is powered like 21% of the web is powered by PHP. By WordPress. So about 40% of web is powered by PHP. You get so you have to understand that we are still talking about ecosystem for backend ecosystem components like RESTful APIs, GraphQL, which I've mentioned, databases, SQL and NoSQL, containerization, Docker, uh, cloud platforms, AWS, Azure for Microsoft are key knowledge areas for backend developer. Let me just summarize by saying that for front end, your key languages are HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then important ecosystem tools are React, Vue.js, TypeScript, SAS, Webpack. Okay, I don't know if that's clear enough. So I know that we need to make this put this in context for people who want to embark on this career. So the foundation, no HTML, no CSS, no JavaScript. Very well. Then move to choose one of the framework. I will say choose React, learn React, and move on. From there, anything that comes your way, you can always learn. For backend, learn either Python or JavaScript Node.js. You understand? Or Java. But I would say learn Python or Node.js for backend. Then understand Django if you are learning Python, and Flask. If no, understand Django if you are learning Python. Later you can pick up Flask. Then if you are learning Node.js, understand Express.js. Then most important, the one that cut across all of them for backend is REST APIs, SQL, NoSQL, Docker, AWS. I hope I'm able to answer that question.
Yes, thank you. Guys, I hope you are taking notes. Mr. Debo, if you can hear me, I can't access my WhatsApp, so I can't read the messages. But you can send it to me on Slack, so I can just read the messages if you still have questions from the comment section. Okay, so we'll run because we have limited time left. Now, as someone interested in going into um web development, I need to be sure of what I'm going into. So, Mr. Femi, I was going to put you on the spot. Please pardon me. How stable and predictable is demand for web developers across regions and industry over the next 3 to 5 years? We know right now it's going to be a two-in-one question. So we know now that like the first question I read out, we already know about machine learning, all of those things coming in. AI can generate code and all. So why should I go into web development when AI is there? What is that skill that sets me apart? That no matter how strong, how sound, how effective AI is, my job will not be taken away from me. So please, can you just help us with that?
Thank you very much. Very interesting question. I got worried some times ago. All right. And you just indulge me. I need to pull out a document because I had to do research because I was like, what's going on in my field? And I got worried. So I started doing research. Give me some few seconds. Let me pull up the research so that I can talk from data, right? You are talking about because there's fear that will AI take the job of web
The
developer and all that.
jobs,
Yeah.
yes.
Let me. I'm coming. I have the document. Let me see if I can pull it up. For I did this some times ago, and excuse me, just a moment. Just a moment. I hope I can find it. Where are you? Where are you? I can't remember what I used to save it. I will have searched for it. I know it's here. Just a moment. I just want to talk from statistics. That's why I'm doing this. I'm coming now. If I can't find it, then I will save my mind now. And believe me, I will speak from experience and what's going on. Okay, so before if I'm able to find it's fine. So I got worried and I had to do this research that what is the okay web design business viability. Let me I'm able to find it. So I started doing the research and this is what I came up with. Now, based on comprehensive market research and trend analysis, web design remains a viable and growing business in 2025. Though it is evolving significantly, the industry is experiencing growth, but facing challenges from which is what you mentioned, from AI automation and do it yourself platforms. Success requires strategic adaptation. But let me read the market size and growth data for us. Current market statistics. Global web design market is a $56.82 billion business in 2024. Now, listen, it is projected to reach $109.12 billion by 2032. That is 8.5% growth. There's no field that is going to experience such kind of growth. In the US, web design services is $43.5 billion they generate $43.5 billion in revenue in 2024. All right. So industry employment median pay for web developers and digital designers was $92,750 per year, or $44.59 per year. Now let's look at the growth trajectory. The web design industry demonstrates robust growth with consistent expansion across multiple metrics. The projected growth of 8.5% indicates strong market demand that exceeds general economic growth rate. Do you hear that? It exceeds general economic growth rate. In other words, it exceeds the growth in any other industry. Are you following me? So there's no
Yeah.
fear that AI is going to take. But however, let me sound a warning here. There will be major challenges and threats. AI automation. I mean, AI can generate website for you now, right? It can generate website for you. We have do-it-yourself website builder there out there. We have so many of them. But now, what are the opportunities? The opportunity for you, if you learn this, the opportunity is AI can generate website, but it cannot get it accurately. So there will still be need for custom development. There will still be need for enterprise solutions. There will still be need for e-commerce integration. There will still be need for performance optimization. Now let me close my notes and see if I can talk from my heart. All right. So this field is growing. This field contain opportunities. AI has come, and I think I mentioned it. I am building an application now with AI. When I ask AI that this is, I show the architecture of what I wanted to build. You know what the AI told me? AI told me that I am a large language model. I cannot build this thing for you, but I can help you get codes. It said it. I mean, Claude AI told me, that I cannot build this thing for you. I can generate the code for you, but it began to mention what it cannot do. Let me see if I can even pull up the conversation while we are still having this thing. That it was telling me that, look, yeah, I can help you generate the code, but I cannot build the application for you. And it's simple. Why is he saying that? Because there are things that AI cannot do for us as human, right? There are some things that AI cannot do for us as human. Part of that, I think let me I'm coming. Let me pull up another document that just to before I conclude. Now, number one, creative and original thinking. AI cannot do it for you. Human developers bring original ideas, innovations, and user empathy to design and development. We understand real world context. We understand user needs. We understand ethical considerations. AI cannot guess this. Complex problem solving and adaptive reasoning. Well, AI is evolving, but the AI excel in repetitive, well-defined coding tasks. But human, we shine in handling ambiguous problems, debugging complex edge cases, and so on and so forth. Then collaboration and communication. You and I, we are collaborating, we are communicating. You want to be communicating when you are designing. We have developers, we work closely together. AI tools lack human intuition. They lack social skills necessary, ethical judgment and responsibility, and so on. So for me, right, to talk to people who are interested in this field, please, it's booming. All you need to do is sharpen your skill. The field is there. The opportunities are there. So please come in, join us. Join this cohort, learn, develop yourself. The opportunity is unlimited. I am talking from personal experience. The opportunity here is unlimited. I'm telling you.
Thank you, Mr. Femi. Thank you for that. So what should students look forward to in the training? What should they expect? What should they look forward to?
Okay, depending on their career path. Anyways, like I said, if you're a student coming in, I will suggest, since you are doing web development, I will suggest to enter through front end. Okay, so once you understand HTML, CSS, right, and you move to JavaScript. So when it comes to language, once you have learned one language, it's easier to transit to another language. For instance, if you learn JavaScript very well, when you are learning backend language like Python or PHP, they all have the same how do I put it now? The same conventions. What is different is the language. What is different is language syntax. I call it language syntax. That's what is different. But they all have what we call programming process. You understand? You will do data types. You do data types. You will do if else conditional statements for every language. You will do conditional statements. If this happen, do this. Else, do this. Every language is made up of this thing. The only difference is just the syntax. So I will encourage people who are coming in to learn to start with front end, learn HTML, learn CSS, learn JavaScript. Then from there, move to one or two backend languages. While you are building, remember, as you are learning, you are building. You learn HTML today, build something with HTML. You learn CSS today, build something with CSS, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Femi. It's been an educative time with you on this webinar. Thank you. We really appreciate it. All
You're
right, so
welcome.
students, you've heard it. Yes, thank you, sir. Students, you've heard it. Take advantage of this opportunity now. Opportunities are everywhere in web development. You've had it from the professional. Do not be scared. Just take a step of faith, and I'm sure in 3 months you'll come back to share the testimony. Okay. Please, I don't know if anyone is on this call and has not joined the WhatsApp group. Mr. Debo, kindly post the link to the WhatsApp group so they can join the calls group, and we'll take it from there. And it's a promise from me. Anyone that joins, or as many as you that take this opportunity today, there's a special package for you. So just send a message to any of the admins and we'll walk you through the process. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, Mr. Femi. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Goodbye,
Bye.
sir.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, guys.